fourth quarter during a trap near half court in Golden State's 142-112 Game 3 win. Morant likely to miss Game 4 with a knee injury. Head coach Taylor Jenkins said on Sunday Ja's officially listed as doubtful. Poole called his action a basketball play, and hopefully he gets better. And, we can see him out there the next game. I don't even play like that for real. That's not my type of game. Memphis coach Taylor Jenkins said, there was a grab. I'm just curious what happened. And Ja tweeted, broke the code, in reference to Steve Kerr earlier this series, then deleted it. Here's Steph on that Poole play.
It's unfortunate that there's a conversation right now because obviously nobody wants to see anybody get hurt. But there's nothing malicious about what Jordan did. There's no comparison to what Dylan did or Draymond, like nothing in that vein. So it's not a joking matter. Ja's hurt, but all the rest of it is just total BS in terms of the conversation right now. So I remember that term they came up with, hot stove contact. That's what it felt like. Keep it moving.
JJ, do you agree with Poole not getting suspended here?
I do agree. And from my perspective, and again, I haven't spoken with Jordan, but I take him at his word. I take their team at their word. This, to me, was an unfortunate incidental play, but Jordan reaching in there for a loose ball was a basketball play. I think it's important to note as well, Ja Morant had missed 9 games this spring with right knee soreness. There is another video of him hitting that right knee on Klay Thompson. So we don't know if, that was necessary, that little yank. The other thing, the angle of the yank, I mean, I've watched it in slow-mo a million times. Like, he's basically grabbing his shin bone, and it's a little tug. It's not, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but I didn't see anything in this. And then unfortunately, of course, as Steph mentioned, nobody wants to see Ja get hurt. Certainly not me as a fan. I want to see the Grizzlies at full strength going against Steph and the Warriors.
Couple of things. Number one, it was not a dirty play. Number two, I hate when they slow-mo stuff sometimes because in real time, look at how quick that play happened. You trying to tell me that was Jordan Poole's intent? Come on, that's ridiculous. If you watch it in real time, it happened so fast, and he was reaching for the ball, and then ultimately, it looked like he grabbed at his knee a little bit, but that wasn't intentional. It was so quick. How do you know that? That's number two. Number three, let's call it what it is. There's some gamesmanship going on. Memphis is bitter because Steve Kerr brought up about, breaking the code and stuff like that when Dylan Brooks clotheslined Gary Payton, got himself suspended. They probably thought that he got ejected from the game and that's all that was going to happen. But then because Steve Kerr opened his mouth after game 1 and complained the way that he did, he got Dylan Brooks suspended for game 2. So let's see what we can do to try and get Jordan Poole suspended for game 4. That's probably what the thinking was when you look at the Memphis Grizzlies, because they don't like the fact that one of their players is down. So how do you feel? How would you feel if one of your players was down? This is the kind of stuff that happens. But this is the thing that bothers me that nobody has brought up. Ja Morant is a superstar. This brother is spectacular. He's special, okay? I think he's a bigger version of Allen Iverson. Reminds me of Russell Westbrook in his earlier days, even though Russell Westbrook is still incredibly athletic. But I'm just saying the way that the fervor with which he plays, the way he attacks the basket. Some of those things that Ja Morant do, as much as we ooh and ah over it, it's not good for his long-term career. It's not good from a longevity standpoint because he's not a guy. Like, for example, Allen Iverson was a pretty durable dude. Ja Morant has missed some games. What have we marveled over? How the Memphis Grizzlies have looked without Ja Morant. We know they're not better without him. We know he's the superstar of that team. We know his value to the team and to the NBA, because I'm sick and tired of seeing them damn Elvis posters in Memphis. They need to put Ja Morant posters up in there, not Elvis, okay? Elvis is dead. Everybody know Elvis is dead. So just let it go. But I will say this. It's the truth. But I will say this. I will say this. Still in all, because of the games we've seen him miss already in his young career, he might want to be careful, because some of those plays that he makes, who knows what level, what ultimately will happen to him health-wise, particularly his knees. When you see a young guy with knee injuries, I get worried, JJ.
I actually do hate to make this comparison between whether it's Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook, John Wall. Like
But it's
any of these sort of 6'3" and under, highly explosive, attack the rim guards, there has to be, for long-term health, there has to be some sort of evolution to the game. And this is where, like, I think Ja may, and Derrick Rose did this, by the way. He turned himself into a great mid-range shooter. He turned himself into a respectable three-point shooter. Ja shot the ball really well here. He's so reliant on that floater that's his mid-range shot. So if he can sort of continue to rely on that floater and develop as a three-point shooter, then that's the evolution long-term for him.
Long-term, because by the way, just as an aside, you brought up John Wall, because we've had no reason to bring up John Wall whatsoever. Let me say this to John Wall. I know y'all are saying that the Houston Rockets asked you, to sit out or whatever. First of all, they denied that. They wanted you to come off the bench. But secondly, John Wall, even if it's true, at the end of the day, considering the fact that you are a baller and making over $40 million, it would behoove you to make some noise and look a bit uncomfortable about sitting on the bench and not playing when you're fully healthy and ready to go. I want to remind the world John Wall can play some damn ball. So play, damn it. Play.
He needed to get that off his chest. I got to go back to John.
I didn't have John Wall catching strays today on my bingo card.
No, but I didn't either. But you brought it up.
You brought it up.
That was a perfect excuse for me to get in a John Wall, getting paid.
So we blame you.
Play, my brother. You're good. Great.
Okay.
Play.
Let's focus on the playoffs. JJ, is this series over regardless of Ja's status?
Okay. No, it's not. I do think the Warriors will win this series, and they'll end up playing the Suns in the conference finals. But there are some things. If you're the Memphis Grizzlies, you're 20-5 in the regular season without Ja Morant. They're better defensively without Ja Morant. If they can get Desmond Bane going, his usage rate, his stats in those 25 games when Ja was out exceeded what his production levels when Ja was in the game. So give some credit to Steph Curry, who's been his primary defender most of this series. Jordan Poole has also been his primary defender for a lot of this series. And those guys have just really limited him. They're better defensively. They believe because they've done it. And you can argue about the quality of those 20 wins in the regular season. I get all that. But they believe they can do it. They can get Bane going, and Ja can come back at some point in this series. I think they can still get to 7 games.
Okay. You danced like Fred Astaire right there, but that's okay. That's okay. It happens. Let me be very, very clear to you. Series is over. I'm going to say it. Series is over. You Memphis Grizzlies, number love for y'all. Y'all are future, okay? Series is over. I don't believe I don't believe Memphis is winning this series. I didn't believe it to begin with, but let me be more emphatically clear. They ain't winning game 4. And if they ain't winning game 4, you ain't beating Golden State 3 straight. That's why I say it's over. Now, it's still a possibility it could go 6 because I can see you going back to Memphis. I can see Ja Morant down 3-0 coming out there, and showing what Ja can only show. Okay, you win game 5, you make things interesting for game 6, all right, for 3 quarters. And then Golden State says, okay, lights out. It's time, okay? And they do what they do. The Golden State Warriors, here's what I get where you're coming from because you want to be cautious about what Memphis can do. My problem is you ain't mentioned what Golden State has been doing. Offensively, where was Memphis' defense? Where were they? You talk about Steph, you talk about Clay, you talk about Jordan Poole. Clay had to show up, and he showed up after that APB was out for him after games 1 and 2. Couldn't find him, was looking around all over the damn place. We found Klay Thompson in game 3. We know what Jordan Poole can do. We know what Steph can do. And then we talk about Wiggins and Kuminga coming on the court because you needed somebody now that Gary Payton II is out due to the clothesline from Dylan Brooks. You needed somebody that was a bit long, athletic, that could potentially challenge the Jaws of the world when they got to the rim. You ain't going to stop Ja by any stretch of the imagination, but you can make things a bit more difficult. So I'm thinking about the contribution from a Kuminga. I'm looking at Otto Porter Jr. to go with Steph Clay and Jordan Poole, please. This series is over. They will lose tonight, okay? They will go back to Memphis down 3-1. They'll probably win game 5, and then they're going to come back to the Bay, and it's going to get closed out. That is my belief. Could I be wrong? Sure, but I doubt it. It's over.
Didn't have that confidence about Miami, Philly. I'll tell you that much.
That's fair. That's fair.
We'll leave it there.
I am a little bit more nervous about that Philly with Miami than I am with
know you are.
I just want to.
Okay.
I want to make a point
Sure.
because you brought this up. Game 3 was the most Warriors-esque game.
Yes, on their home
court.
That I think we've seen from them in the playoffs. No.
Because Clay, right?
The first round? Even the first round?
Well,
I saw some of that. I saw some of that first round.
they were playing against one guy.
I'm just telling you. I saw that. You just said you didn't see it until this one. I'm saying I saw it in the first round. I didn't say who was
a lot
the
of guys with low basketball.
I said, okay, I got you. But I saw it.
But this is what they weren't doing in game one and 2 in Memphis. We saw the player movement, the ball movement, the quick decisions. They're very hard to guard. And by the way, my first time on the show back in November, the Warriors were 8-1. And you basically said the season was over. So of course I'm not surprised that you're saying the series is over.
I didn't say the season was over. I said the Warriors are coming. They're going to win the chip. And that jury's still out. But they winning this series.
All right.
They winning this series. Okay, I'm telling you that right now. They probably going to finals.
Take that W.
They know I don't feel like, listen, I love Monty and Chris Paul and all that. They know I don't feel like being in Phoenix with them damn Coyotes. They know that.
Oh, here we go.
Even though the Bay Area is feels like New York, I don't need that either. I mean, I need warm weather, but I'm just saying. It's just
do you need anything else right now? Are you good right now, temperature-wise? You need a drink? You're good? A protein smoothie? Okay, I got a blender in my office.
I have one.
We'll work
do you? I didn't know that.
I do have a blender.
Oh, damn,
and I
I'm
have
using
protein
that.
powder.
Go ahead,
vegan
Dre. I'm
protein
definitely
powder.
using that.
We'll get that going for you.
What would be sort of your ideal finals, just for you,
Yeah.
for your own comfort, for your own happiness, the 2 cities that you would like to spend time in?
Let me say this to you.
You really need to ask this
the
question?
Lakers already ruined that. Everybody and their mother knows.
I'm saying with these teams. With these teams.
Oh, with these teams. Okay.
The
I was
teams
going to say Lakers,
still play.
Miami. I was going to say Lakers, Miami.
Obviously.
But purely from a basketball standpoint, I would tell you this. Golden State, Boston. From a